and welcome to another episode of Amy Hart's Mums Club, the podcast where I journey through the highs and lows of parenting alongside a gaggle of fabulous guests. But that's not all. This podcast is for you as well. So don't forget, check us out on all your social medias at Amy Hart's Mums Club on Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to follow or subscribe to this podcast wherever you are watching or listening. My guest today first came onto our screens in series 4 of Love Island. Since then, he has met lovely Laura and has got a lovely baby Leo. And he's here with me today. It's Adam Collard.
Oh, thank you for having me. Mum's Club. I didn't
Mums
get the
Club.
invite.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's Mums and Dad's Parents Club, shall we say.
Yeah,
Um,
fully.
I have just had to redo my makeup because I've just watched the most recent episode of SAS Who Dares Wins, which of course you were on this series. Um, you're killing me, you really are. We'll talk about that in a minute, all the
Yeah.
crying. But how did you find SAS?
It was it was something that I've always wanted to do. I think from the outside looking in, I think there's all have you done it, Amy?
I haven't. I used to always say in
No.
interviews that I wanted to do it because I felt like saying Strictly or I'm a Celeb was a bit boring to say because everyone says that.
Yeah.
And then I watched it and was like, I need to stop putting that out into the universe because I can't do that.
Yeah. So I think like you always think, is there something when I hate like calling us celebrities because I genuinely feel like a normal person that was
Mhm.
just thrown on TV. But I always thought, is there a little bit where they get a little break? Or is there, when people hear the rumors about I'm a celeb, is there like an extra hotel? There's nothing like that. All of the pre-records are done before or after. So all of your reactions and stuff like that. And when you're in there, you are in there with just the DS and they are the real deal. They want to test you. They want you to get the most out of the show. And honestly, I would recommend it to anyone. It was the best thing I ever did. I think from obviously people are starting to see the episodes now. Talking out as a man, I think we're quite bad. You've got nowhere to hide with that. So it almost has made me a better person for doing that coming out of it. But also just like the people that you meet and the camaraderie, obviously being the focus of last night's episode. Like, when would you ever find my best friends off the show are Lucy Spraggan, who I never would have met, like brother sister relationship, Michaela McCollum, Bimini, who I'll be honest, like I don't know up north, but like there's a different sort of. I always feel like we're 5 years behind London, so like LGBTQ plus community, and like I feel like that was really good for me to learn, and alongside that, having the boys towards the end, so it was really close knit, but it was very challenging and amazing all in one.
I do always love seeing like, when the lineups come out and it's such a mix of people. Who surprised you the most, would you say?
So, yes and no. I mean, Michaela is amazing and such a badass. Like, you've got no idea how strong that woman is. And she kind of almost, I'm not going to give too much away, but she kind of almost always looks like she's struggling a little bit physically, but mentally, like, stronger than anyone. But then when I found out her story, because I didn't know that she was in prison for 3 years, I was like, oh, maybe that helps a little bit. But once we got to the last six, it really got ramped up a lot in terms of intensity, but also the DSs kind of had a little bit more respect for us as well. What actually surprised me as well is once we got to that last six, the DSs surprised me because they changed from being quite hard, quite stern, and they still were, by the way, but they wanted us to succeed. It was totally
Mm.
different. And I think they wanted us to peel back the layers of ourselves, like whether it was Michaela pushing herself physically, me probably mentally, and like different things like that. So yeah, it was great.
I read Michaela's book in one day during lockdown.
Yeah.
I like literally read it cover to cover, and I messaged her on Instagram. I was like, I've just read your book; it's absolutely amazing, and I was recommending it to everyone. Her story is just, I know, like it probably didn't start the best, but the way she sort of came through it is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you should definitely get to her on as well.
Yes, yes, I definitely need to. Um, what was the biggest thing you learned from the whole thing?
Um, so leading up to going on the show, I went through a bit of a hard time in the sense of, so it got edited out the other night, but what it almost sounded like I said Laura had two miscarriages. She didn't, she had one. But when I say second, I meant second situation. So what happened was we went to a log cabin for our anniversary. I surprised her. And she tried to make a joke and throw a pillow, and the chandelier came on her face. And that was when she had the really bad accident. Then, so she miscarried, and then she got the chandelier on her face, which was horrendous. So like, trauma in hospital, trauma in hospital. It was honestly, it was a running joke between us because what you've got to laugh or you cry, and we're like, we've had one thing after another, and even our families were like, this is like a Netflix documentary at the moment. And then I had a little bit of a family dispute, lost some family in the process, and I've got to be honest, like going into SAS, I probably felt my most mentally weak for me. And I think that I'm one of those people, like when you, I don't know, you break up with a partner or you something, I like to be at work. And I think with going in SAS, I thought if I this could make or break me, and it did a little bit of both, but in such a positive way, because I was like, this is going to take me outside of the outside world. And the beauty of my favorite thing about Love Island was having no phone for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It was the best. Like I would love to, I'd kind of love to do that just with Laura and do it in modern day life. But yeah, it was really challenging. I think what I probably learned about myself the most is as a man, like the strong person is not to keep everything to yourself. The strong person is to share. I think because I've done so many hard challenges in fitness, and because like I'm aware of how stereotypically I look now can be quite intimidating. The people inside my gym and at home probably just thought I was a robot that could just do anything and not really have any emotions. And I think it's really helped my friends and family see a different side of us as well as everyone else, hopefully.
That's lovely. Your miscarriage, you and Laura very sadly had a
Yeah.
miscarriage. Obviously, a lot of the talk around miscarriage is about the mums. How is it as a dad?
Um, I mean, I've heard about it before. I hadn't heard about it as much as what at the moment it happened. I hadn't heard about it as much at that point. Hers was definitely volatile because I've never seen anyone in so much pain at that point. It was horrendous to see in person. And I think as a dad, your first port of call is make sure Laura's okay, make sure the mum's okay. So you kind of go into, or at least I go into overdrive. I'm like a problem solver. I'm a bit like that at work. So for 4 to 6 weeks, I'm like, do everything, take time off work, make sure she's okay, make sure she's okay. And then probably 6 weeks down the line, I think we actually ran away to Mexico to try and just get away from people. I was like, God, like I didn't even think about this myself. Like I was going to be a dad for the first time. And I think that it is the only situation in my life ever where my, and I don't want to sound arrogant saying this, but my looks, my fame, my money, my anything, nothing could help. There was nothing apart from giving her a cuddle and trying my best. And I realized in that moment there is more to life than that stuff. There is something bigger because none of that stuff helps. I mean, my situation is nothing compared to this, but I think I saw a lot of Ashley Kane with Azayla after that, and I thought, God, like if that's how I feel now, God knows how he feels because that is just astronomical. And I think, yeah, it's one of them things where the only way to fix it was Leo and like having Leo now. And until that point, but at the same time, nothing makes you stronger in that moment. I know some couples don't end up staying together forever after that, but I think if you go through that, even if you don't end up with that person for the rest of your life, obviously we did, but like you always will hopefully have a respect that is, unwavering with that person.
You've been like sort of joined together by that
Yeah,
that trauma, and it's like you'll always have that.
yeah.
You also talked about your depression. What was it that led to your diagnosis of depression? What were your sort of
Um,
symptoms if people are at home not sure whether they are on that path? What were the sort of things that you experienced?
so I am very much like you, were put in the public eye at a very young age, and I think that's a lot. I opened a gym when I was 21. I played rugby. I was given painkillers at a very, very young age, prescription painkillers. And I think and this is again, that post was just funnily enough, I posted it. The show's edit was a year long, but really in hindsight, that post was actually before SES. That was how I was feeling. Given someone like me who loves his fitness, who loves his health, and all of my friends, when they have a bad time, turn to food because they're binge eaters or they turn to alcohol because you want to go out and you break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you want to go and do something like that. As a fitness professional, mine was, well, I don't want to do those things. But when I overthink, it's very easy to take the painkillers that my rugby coach or my coach for Ironman gave me for performance for pain, for back pain, for knee pain. And it turned into a bit of a vicious cycle where it was easy to just, have one to switch off because I wasn't in tune with my emotions enough to talk to someone or to kind of express how I was feeling or to like try and do the work. And I've had therapy since, and like it's something that I've dipped in and out of for the last sort of year. But like I think that like I do think men grow up later than women. I really do.
Mm.
Um, I can definitely say that from my own experience, but like not just like in relationships, emotionally as well. Like I didn't know how to talk to anyone. So I think that I'd naturally got depressed and I didn't really understand what was happening. I was just like, oh, I'm very, very low. And I'm just gonna try and work to distract myself or train to distract myself. But when them things stop working, you don't know what to do, and then suddenly it hits you.
Mm. Did you feel like a lot of it was like a sort of delayed reaction from like that becoming famous overnight? Like you go in as a normal person, and then I always think that like literally you get to Palmer Airport and you're literally like one of the crowd. You go into a hotel, then you go into a villa, and then you come home and it's completely different. Um, do you think that was because I found that I was having a great time, a great time, a great time, a great time, and then suddenly my friends started to pick up on things that I wasn't like. I would go out for lunch with my friends. They'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And they're like, "You just don't seem yourself." And that was about 9 months after, and it started to, and then it just went boom, and that's when I started having therapy.
Yeah, like I think that what is very, very weird that no one will ever be able to relate to Love Island, and I think it was more so when me and you were on it, is the overnight fame. That's what's it's not just fame because like like look at a footballer, they get better and better and better every year, and then they blow up. Or
Mm,
look at a singer or a music artist. I don't think there's anything in the world where it's so dramatic. Like we were gaining 500,000 followers in a night over the first night we kind of went on. And what happens is, and I don't know if you found this, I felt anxious when I wasn't doing something because I was like, for the last year, my agent has organized my life. I'm sleeping in taxis, I'm sleeping on airplanes. I have a guy that drives me around from place to place to place on this personal appearances. I spend a lot of time in hotels by myself, which to the outside world, people be like, hold on, you get paid to go to nightclubs. That must be the best thing in the world. Don't get us wrong, it was financially. And at the start, on a Saturday, my friends would come, but it very much gets a little bit boring further down the line. And also, they work 9 to 5 jobs. They can't come to Southampton on a Tuesday night when you sat in a hotel room by yourself for the
mhm,
full night. And, like it really, really takes a strong person to go through that and not get chewed up the other end. And I think I saw a lot of people who I was close to off the show where once you reach that fame and then the next year of Love Island come on, it's really hard to deal with if you're not getting as much attention.
mm.
And I think
Um,
it's tough.
Even now, like 6 years later, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, "Oh, what are you up to today?" And she's like, "Oh, today's actually quite a quiet day, actually." And I was like, "But that's the point." I was like, "Think about the times that we're going from meeting to meeting to meeting to job to job to job. We would love a day at home. So just that, don't
Yeah.
think, oh God, I've got a day at home. Like, what am I doing? Am I a failure? I'm like, that's what when we're in those busy periods, we're like, we'd love a day at home. So just enjoy the day at home."
Yeah, I think the one thing that has always kept me grounded has been fitness and having the gyms back home because I've had like a thing to build on. That's probably what like is amazing with your brand with the podcast. Like you've got something that's yours so you can work on it on those days.
Hmm.
Whereas I found that some of my friends and ex-partners in the public eye, their job, their daily task was how do I get the best Instagram photo or Instagram reel? And then once that's done, what do you do? Because you don't have your thing. Like yours is the mum's club, mine is sculpt. Like if you've got something outside, like even if Instagram got deleted tomorrow, we would still have a purpose almost. And I think purpose is so important. And when you don't have purpose, that's when you can get depressed. And that's probably why Leo's helped a lot because he gives you that purpose as well.
I was gonna say, like, people used to say to me all the time, like, what are you gonna do after all this is over? And I used to think, oh God, I don't know. Like, I need to think about it. But now that I have Stanley, I'm like, well, I'll just be more of a mum. Like, I'll just have
Yeah.
more time to be a mum. And I feel like being a parent, it really just put everything to perspective. And I'm like, I feel so lucky for the job that I have, and I love my job. I'm like, I also have something like so much bigger in Stanley. Do you feel like that with Leo?
It's so funny. We talk about it all the time in the house, me and Laura. You like, you need a break, but you get guilty when you have a break. And then the first day we went out, we were laughing because we went for like a cheeky cocktail at like 12 o'clock lunchtime. It was like it was like a random Tuesday, and we probably went 1 mile away from the house, and we just sat and looked at photos of him.
Yeah.
It was just, even when you're not there, you're there. But like, it for me, the biggest thing for me is I spent years of, on paper, to the outside world, everyone be like, "You're super successful." Like, my one of my best friends, he was like, "Are you joking?" He was like, again, don't want to sound arrogant, but he was like, "You look the way you do. You're the gym guy. You've got two gyms. You've got houses. Like all of this." He was like, "You saw that," and I was like, "But you go home to your partner on a Sunday night, and I sit and watch Netflix and play on my phone by myself." And I really didn't understand before Laura and before Leo, like, what was the point? Like, I was like, what's the point in having all this stuff? And it's just there for no reason. And like, yeah, like, I think it really puts stuff into perspective. Like, I get more of a buzz of coming and surprising him with giving him like a daft teddy bear than any sort of material things that we got when we first came off Love Island.
Yeah. What was it about Laura when you first met her, when you were like, right, she is the one?
And she just, I think the lemon law, like the 15-second thing, I've always said that. Like, I knew straight away it was going to be something. I didn't know I was going to get married to her. I didn't know, and we're not married yet, but I didn't know it was going to be that much. But I knew when she walked into the bar, I was like, wow, like, this is definitely going to be something. Like, I changed completely. I really changed. And I always said openly, everyone who always judged me on my past was always right until they were wrong. And what I mean by that is, like, they were all. I've I've had some partners, and I hope she doesn't mind saying this, that are amazing people and they're very nice, but not for me. And it really used to wind me up. I'd be like, I just wish that, like, I'm quite I'm very driven. I'm very business focused, and like, that's a part of me. So if someone doesn't fit that, I don't love that. And then someone, you find out what you don't like as well as what you like, and then she just kind of ticked all the boxes, and we just got on so well, and I felt comfortable from day one. And I think the big thing was, she only ever judged me for me and how I treat her from day one. And I think that, like, we went to a family party and we had a laugh about it because, a family party had like Googled us before I came there. And I was like, God, this must be like the biggest walking red flag in the world. Like, even people at work were being like, like Adam, and like what people say about Adam and stuff like that. And like, there's a part of it that is true. Like, I was young and I was kind of experiencing the world and trying to find my way. But you know, I I hope that, like, just people understand that it was always going to be. I've always knew that I've had this in me. It just needed someone to unlock it, if you know what I mean.
That's the thing is, you were 22 when you went on Love Island the
Yeah,
first time. You think about. I just want to talk about really, really quickly because
yeah,
obviously I am Love
yeah,
Island
yeah,
super fan. What was it like going back the second time?
yeah. How do I say this without being too harsh? So it was amazing, and I liked it, and it didn't seem as authentic as when I went on the first time. But I don't know if that's because I'd went on twice and I was the first ever person to do it. So that's me kind of giving you both sides of it there. But for me personally, I remember going on when I was 22, and like Wes and Jack Fowler and Jack Fincham and all that, like, we didn't really know we were going to get quote unquote famous. So we didn't care. We did what we wanted to do. Like, I've got to be honest, like, I know that I made some rash decisions in that time, but like, everything in that moment is what I wanted at that time. As in, like, I didn't analyze Rosie to Zara or Zara to Daryl and go, they have the most followers, or I think they're the most popular outside, so I'm going to choose that person. Whereas when I went on the second time, I thought there was a little bit of that. And
Mm.
there was certain couples where I thought, that's the smart move rather than what you really want. And I just found and I'll be honest with you, I was quite boring on the second series in comparison if you followed me for being, the playboy, whatever. And I was like, well, unfortunately, not like the last time, you've gave me the girl I like the most first, so I'm not going to mess about. Whereas the first time you gave us the girl that I like the most fourth, and you gave me all the decisions. So that's as similar as it is. You can't change my mind now.
That's the thing that when you go at the beginning, there's bombshells left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And then obviously you went in a bit later the second time, and then there's less people coming in, and obviously you got the girl that you liked. It's really interesting that you said that your series, your first series, series four, I'd never watched Love Island before. And I was flying at the time, and everyone used to talk about it at breakfast and at drinks at night and stuff. And my friend said to me, like, look, everyone is going to, it's starting again tonight. Everyone's going to be talking about it at work. You might as well just give it a try. So the next morning, I took my iPad to the gym and like put the first episode on.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do I watch the next episode? Like, how do I get, I need more. I was like, is there a first look? Like, where can I get more? And I literally like
Yeah.
your series. I feel like if I went on Celebrity Mastermind, I feel like that your series would be my specialist subject because I
Really?
just, and I used to get so told off because my year, obviously the following year in the villa, they'd be like, Ames, what do you think's going to happen today? And I'd be like, well, on this day last year, this happened. So I think this
No,
might happen. This,
legit.
that. Yeah. And they were like, Amy, stop talking.
That is so funny. Do you know what? The last series that's just happened now, I would say for the first time in about 3 or 4 years, it's the most in tune that I've been with it. And it's not because I've necessarily watched it all, but the Twitter and
Yeah.
watching it on Instagram. But I don't know what happened this year, but it seemed to get a little bit of that back. I feel like they got the mojo back. I don't know
Um,
why.
I feel like when we were on Love Island, I feel like everyone had a lot longer attention spans. So, like sort of storylines in inverted commas, like our lives,
Yeah,
we could take more time with it. Whereas I feel like now, because everyone is on TikTok 24/7, and if something doesn't catch your eye in the first 3 seconds, you swipe up. I feel like this time these like the people that are in it were just moving from thing to thing to thing to thing, and that kept us all really engaged in it. And like there was no like filler at all this year. It was all
yeah,
thriller, and it just kept moving like a train. And I said at the end, I said, I feel like because I do the podcast for Love Island, so I
yeah, yeah,
watch it every night and then we talk about it afterwards.
yeah,
And at the end, I was like, I feel like we started about 2 weeks ago, but I also feel like I've watched 3 series of Love Island because so much has happened.
yeah.
I just don't know where I am between the two. But
I also, the thing that frustrates me is though, these days, everyone going on seems to be like a supermodel or like unbelievably pristine. No one's got a drunken selfie. Like when you worry when you're in there thinking, I didn't delete that drunken photo on my Instagram or anything. Where is that gone?
well, when I went on, me and my best friend took 4 days leave off of work, and she had my Facebook and I had my Instagram, and we were just going through like deleting stuff.
That
And when I was 16, I used to post like 10 statuses a day, and she was like, I hate 16-year-old Amy. There is so much stuff here. Like, why did you have to do
song
this?
lyrics.
Yeah, like literally. Well, when I went on, I didn't realize you're not supposed to tell anyone you've applied, and I told
Yeah.
everyone. And when I got my call for my final callback, they said, and obviously you can't tell anyone. So I had to post some like sad quote on Facebook about like sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to, and everyone was like, "You okay, hon?" I was like, "Yeah, I didn't get Love Island." Lol.
As if.
But like you say, you and Laura are getting married next year. How are the wedding plans going? Are you a groomzilla?
Well, we we haven't planned anything. That's how the plans are going. But the plans have kind of been, there's been a lot going on. Leo moving house, stuff like that. We were like, maybe we should wait. I think there's like 5 top things to put as much stress as possible on a relationship. I think we had 3 of them. We're like, maybe we should just leave it for a little bit. So I think we're just kind of going, right, it can happen next year. And then once we get to the end of this year, then we'll go and plan for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun experience. I'd say definitely get a wedding planner because
Yeah.
like they keep you in check because they're like, right, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? And you're like, I'll do it. I'm really sorry.
I don't think you've met Laura. I think she'll
Yeah.
do that.
See, but I'm very good at writing lists. Like this book is like full of lists. But as my husband always says to me, if you spent more time completing the list you wrote yesterday instead of writing a list that you've written today, like you wouldn't have to write as many lists. No, this is true. This is true. But how are you finding being a dad to Leo?
It's amazing. It's like the best. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend because it frustrates me when people do. Like, it's not hard. Like sometimes it's sleep and the sleep patterns, and then like mine and Laura's work with gym life being super early, and Laura's tends to be on the later side. It is tough sometimes, but it's the best thing in the world. Like I was just playing with him just before I came on this podcast. Like Tuesdays are a little bit of a slower day for me. Took him swimming yesterday, and that's like turned into mine and his thing. So it's sick. Like it is the best thing ever.
What things are you looking forward to as he gets older? Because I'm obsessed with like I can't wait to do like more theme park days, and I can't wait to take you to the cinema and bowling and
Cinema is one of them. Like we're big on the cinema, me and Laura. That always used to be one of our date nights. So we said we can't wait to get him into that. But obviously you got to be careful with screen times and stuff at the start,
yeah,
haven't you? Um, but just daft things like he comes to the gym with me already, and obviously I know it's work for me, but he just sits on the floor and plays, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like I'm actually at work, and he's just there playing with, probably eating something. I'll try and eat something. Um, but I think just little thing. I haven't had a matching outfit with him yet, so I'm waiting for his first like. I'm waiting for his soft launch, but when he can actually stand up and we can start like doing matching ads or something like
yeah.
that.
Oh, so
So yeah,
cute.
loads to look forward to.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. So how many episodes of SAS have we got left?
So
Just
I think
one,
we've got two left.
two
So we've
left.
got Sunday and Monday night next week. Yeah, seven
Well,
and eight.
and I can't wait to see like how it all pans out for you in SAS. Good luck with the wedding planning. And I hope everything goes really well for you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for another episode of Amy Hart's Mums Club. I'm sure you'll agree today's chat was amazing. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to us wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast, and follow us at Amy Hart's Mums Club on Instagram and Twitter. And I will see you next time with another fabulous guest.